All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the show here. We have a global panel actually sitting here. You see Deb. You saw me earlier, I think, in a couple of weeks ago. But I'm Mitten. You see Deb, and then I also have one of our co-worker members. But just want to say thank you for being a consistent part of our activity here. And today is going to be a little bit different than what you've seen before. And we'll introduce you, myself and Deb, as we go along. But if you can move to the next slide. Okay. Mitten, you met me a couple of weeks ago. I'm the marketing director here at Sensient. What I promised to you a couple of weeks ago, that will bring you some unique topics, things that actually matter, things that resonate right now in the current times. And while doing so, I had Tastewise and Deborah top of mind that I have to bring Tastewise forward as we go along in our webinar series. So yeah, Deborah, if you can introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Deborah Rosenbloom. I am the Director of Client Success at Tastewise, and we're going to be bringing you a lot of amazing insights which hopefully you can use over the next few weeks and months during this current situation to help improve your business and give you value. So excited to meet you all and excited to get into the webinar.
We also have a partner in crime here. She's a technical support in terms of the entire platform, and we'll use her as we go. But just before we begin, this is a regular rundown here. This is our fifth in the series of e-learning. So welcome again, and thank you for being part of this. This session is recorded, and we will also send you the link and the responses to the questions that we can cover as well as not cover in a private communication going forward. Please take the survey after the session to help us fine-tune the material. We are hearing some really good stuff from you all. You're liking the basic fundamental elements of our presentations, shorter versions of it, no more than 45 minutes max. So we do cut it off sharp. So we love your feedback. And we're also getting really good scores from you. In the previous one that we did was almost 4.7 out of 5 in based on content and how we're actually sharing it. So please, your feedback is very important. And as you see, there is a Q&A box at the bottom. Make sure the Q&A is, you click on that one to put your question in. We will only answer at the end of the session how many we can, but we will answer the rest of your questions as part of the follow-up through a private communication. The webinar is coming up on Tuesday is beverage building block. We did the flavor enhancement and flavor building block. We're going to now be specific to beverage, what it takes to make a good beverage and what goes into it. And on next Thursday is our sensory 101, how to make taste, how to measure taste, basically. So those are the Tuesdays and Thursdays. I hope you have caught our cadence. We are doing 2 a week, every Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 to 12 Central Time, US. There is a webinar for you. So we're going to do this as long as we have to. And we love your engagement. Once we see you dropping off, we will kind of slow down or maybe change our approach. But this is for you. Right, next one. Right. So before I begin, there's a poll for you. If you can take a quick poll, which some of you got used to, I would love to hear your thoughts. All right. So the question is, how has your current cooking behavior changed during COVID? Well, we expected you to say you are cooking a lot more, but we also know that a lot of us are managing multiple things over this particular event. There is one thing called working from home, but there is also something called cooking from home. There are two very distinct parts here. So before we go into the root or the main element of today's presentation, which is to understand what on-time, real-time, social listening can actually help us understand our consumers better. and it's an important part of our overall well-being. So I had actually mentioned something a couple of weeks ago that there is a survey that I'm doing. This is a Sensient proprietary survey through our own panel. It's a very simple survey. It's basically asking folks' current behavior and their shopping, their purchase behavior, and even some eating behavior. But what I'm also doing is that running it every weekend from Friday to Saturday, 2 days. It turns on Friday and shuts off on Saturday. We're going to do this continuous survey for next 10 weeks or so, just to get an understanding about, is there a certain change appearing? So from that piece, this is just hot off the press. I received the most recent one yesterday. So I put together a little bit of a trended information. Before I go any further, I just want to let you know that there are 2 data points here. There's one data that is from 3 weeks ago and one data from last week. And the key part is that 2 data points do not make a trend. It's very important to know. But at the same time, I felt there was something happening here that I would love to show you. So there's just one of the questions that we have here. So thinking about the kind of products that we purchased in the last 4 weeks, which is during the COVID time in general, we start seeing a little slight shift. So what the question basically is that, is your behavior or the mix that you buy the same? Has that changed? Or is it typical, or is it completely different? What we are noticing here, and if you see on the right corner here, is that when we started this in the week 1, which is the wave 2 weeks ago, we were seeing that the mix of products that people are buying are different or almost the same, but we also saw that there is a complete newness to some of the folks saying. What we are finding in the most recent one is that in terms of the kind of products they buy and their engagement with their shopping, we are seeing that there is a slight statistical dip from 8.5 to 5.1. That is kind of giving us an indicator is that our consumers seem to be settling in. It was very new, almost aggressively new a couple of weeks ago. Now, in the last week or 2, things seem to have kind of settled in. Good or bad, there is some element of that. There's a routine coming into play. We kind of know what to do and what not to do on Zoom now, right? So it's kind of very important to address that. Here, I think I found this particular piece. I know it is busy and you'll have all this information. But what I want to bring your attention to is one of the questions that I'm asking is that how long do you expect some of your behavior to continue or not? Again, what consumers say, generally what people say and what they do are 2 different things. So please take this with a grain of salt. I'm not expecting people to stick to their perspective continuously, but at least I can see on real time how things are changing week over week. So what I'm finding is that certain categories that were pantry loaded don't have to be loaded anymore. So if you see this light bluish box, the ones that are different color in the red box, that is suggesting is that the pantry loading type of items, they're not going to keep continuing doing that, right? Second, I think we've been drinking a lot. I speak for myself, but there is a lot of drinking going on, and there are some numbers here that actually suggest that people are loading up on the drinking. That is also going to slow down because we don't expect to continue that behavior. But most remarkable is the one last to the bottom, is fruits and veggies. We are seeing that people in the last week or 2 weeks or so are actually buying a lot more fruits and veggies. So I'm going to expand on that a little bit more. So this is a kind of interesting slide that actually starts. You'll see items such as canned foods is in the most recent week is saying less so. I'm not buying as much. It's different than before. But you also see a slight spike in fresh fruits and vegetables. You're also seeing spike in dairy. You're also seeing spike in really kind of indulgent sweet items. That's a serious spike, almost 10-point increase, which is candy and chocolates and stuff like that. So we're seeing that there is a little bit of normality coming into play, but also a little more heightened normality. We're seeing folks cooking a lot more, buying things that are essential to be in the house for them to do a lot more. And this actually complements one of the most recent data point from IRI that says that the takeout orders have actually gone down. So they're not saying that the people are cooking more in that study, but the takeouts are actually kind of settling in. So we thought this is the right time to show this information. There's a lot more to this, and I'll bring more of this as we continue some of the sessions. But at this point, I would like to pass on to Deb, who's actually going to talk about what's happening in people's homes and kitchens.
Thank you so much, Nitin. Hi, as Nitin introduced me earlier, my name is Deborah, and I'm the Director of Customer Success at Tastewise. Now, you may be asking yourself, who are Tastewise, what do they do, and why should we care? So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown about us before we get into the nitty gritty of what people are cooking at home and why. So Tastewise brings the power of data to the art of food and beverage. Now, what does that mean? It means that we have an AI, artificial intelligence powered SaaS platform, which analyzes billions of food data points from all social media sources in order to provide real-time insights to hospitality and food brands. The data is based on real-time information, and this is going to have been sourced over the past 6 weeks to show the most relevant, up-to-the-minute insights on current consumer trends and motivations around COVID-19. So every day, chefs and home cooks are experimenting with new and innovative culinary ideas. These tasty creations originate from lots of places, from pages of restaurant menus to kitchen countertops, and they evolve into food trends. And here at Tastewise, we're capturing the earliest signals of food innovation from the industry's most highly adaptive and meaningful data sets. And that is a lot of the time social media. We then apply our cutting-edge artificial intelligence technology to translate human eating and drinking into what you want, which is eating and drinking, analytics and insights. So what we do is Tastewise is able to empower leading food brands by providing them with data for business critical decisions, from new products to marketing strategy. So what do people currently want? So due to COVID-19 and our essentially being housebound, resources for cooking at home are more relevant than ever before. March alone saw an 89% increase in consumer interest in home cooking. With the closure of schools across the country, across all countries, caregivers are looking for ways to keep their kids happy, healthy, and fed. So instances of parents cooking for and with their children is up 38% in the past month. And these are 28 million parents across America. And what do they want? Well, they want great recipes that they can cook for and or with their children. Unfortunately, only 0.08% of all recipes online on Pinterest, the largest cookbook in the world, are specifically targeted for food for children. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what can manufacturers, supermarkets, chefs do to support kids and their parents at this current time? And how do they tap into this significant white space? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at trending ways that parents are feeding their kids and themselves in our current new reality, and what one can do to meet those needs. So what we've seen from analysing recipes and trends and posts and social media conversations is that parents are looking for creative changes to traditional dishes. We can see that the highest trending recipes for children that parents are getting inspired for are traditional meals, but with a healthy twist. We see burgers getting a healthy, nutrient-rich, vegan bean makeover and increasing in popularity of over 200% in the last 30 days. We see things like tacos, traditionally stuffed with lovely, fried, hearty, unhealthy ingredients being filled with nutritious, protein-filled egg and vegetables. And we see lovely hearty lasagna, 100% increase on a vegetarian version. No heavy, stodgy meat, but actually healthy, nutrition, vibrant vegetables. We see that confirmed in our concept of no more soggy broccoli. We want more than that. We want more than just healthy. We want more than just comfort food. There's a clear trend towards comfort food, but healthy. You know, finding healthy foods that kids like in normal circumstances can be tricky. But if we include health forward ingredients to comfort foods, it makes it far more appealing to children's tastes. So now caregivers are focused on providing tasty, healthy meals for their kids. And what they're especially interested in is certain ingredients, which contain things like vitamins, seeing a 71% increase, antioxidants with a 44% increase. And, you know, the families are currently navigating this climate. They need to have comfort, but they also want health benefits. So essentially there's over 100% increase in interest in healthy comfort foods for kids. And it's not just for kids, it's for everyone. Social conversations are increasing regarding comfort food with health benefits. There was over 150%, 166% increase in comfort food with health benefits across the board. So the average consumer is also focused on finding nourishing, comforting foods with benefits. And people are posting Instagram posts like never before on healthy, immune boosting, sickness treating, comfort foods, and the motivations behind that. So these are some of the most popular dishes being posted on Instagram and what they're being associated with. So things like, you know, the Thai butternut squash chickpea curry is extolling the virtues of antioxidants. We can see that apple, celeriac, and toasted almond soup doesn't sound just sound delicious, but it also provides vitamin E, which is really important in like fighting off ailments. And then we have, you know, we've got to have some meat in there somewhere. But you can see that these grilled honey garlic skewers don't have regular mash, they have cauliflower mash, and they have spinach for added vitamin C. And this is what people are looking for at the moment in the current climate. What we're also seeing is the fact that, you know, we're all under new schedules and parents are home and they have more time at home. And so what we're seeing is an increase in the kind of ingredients and kind of dishes which need longer preparation times. So they're looking for, they've got more time, but they also need to make sure it's more nutritious. So things like baked or slow cooked are increasing by 64-70%, but then fried food is not on a big increase. In fact, it's almost plateauing, because with many parents working from home, juggling responsibilities of childcare and employment, healthy meal preparation is both a priority and also a way to keep kids active and busy. You know, healthy cooking methods are on the rise. We can attribute this to having more time to spend on cooking, and, you know, no one has to leave the house while their roast is slow cooking for 8 hours anymore. In fact, even if you want to, you can't. So not only that, but also there's a desire to engage kids in the act of cooking or baking as an activity. So which recipes are proving popular? Let's find out. So when we look at slow cooked and baked recipes, we can see that there's been a huge increase in popularity. We can see, you know, a slow cooked pot roast, something hearty and healthy and nutritious, has had what can only be described as an astronomical increase in popularity over the last 30 days. We've also seen, you know, really high increase in baked goods. These are things that parents and everyone is cooking at home, but especially cooking with their children. But we can see here that even baked goods, even cakes like banana bread, call it bread all you want, we all know it's a cake, they can be indulgent and also comforting and also healthy. And there's a big increase of that. We're seeing lots of increases in banana breads and muffins and healthy cakes that you can bake at home with your kids. So it's something to really capitalize on, things you can cook at home with your kids, which take a while, which keep kids occupied, and also can provide health benefits. It's not only the cakes that parents are interested in. They're also seeing a lot of value in immunity boosting ingredients. Now, let's be honest, this is more important than ever. Everyone wants to strengthen their immune system to fight out this terrible pandemic which is occurring. So we want to make sure that we understand what kind of recipes are trending and are increasing in popularity for parents. We also want to emphasize the effort that parents are putting into in the kitchen in order to keep their kids healthy and well. And this is more important than ever. So we can see that kid-friendly, as these clearly are, immunity strengthening snacks are on the rise. It's also clear from the previous conversations around health that some things trump health. And as we can see, a lot of these snacks are that. They're snacks. They've got chocolate in, and they're gummies, and they're sugary candy kinds of products, which kids are going to absolutely love. But at the moment, it's so important for parents to ensure that these immunity boosting products are being consumed, that they're willing to kind of hide them in junk food and sweets to ensure their consumption. So we can see that that's really, really valuable. And these are immunity boosting, and there's a lot of value and health aspects to it, but they also contain sugar, but we have to prioritize, don't we? So we've seen it for kids, but we also see that the consumer motivations, and we know that all consumers are turning to familiar foods when cooking for themselves. But the truth is that it's not just comfort food they're looking for. We see that Americans are adjusting to reality and searching for ways to incorporate these healthy eating, home cooking trends that show, but these data points actually show that the traditional foods are ripe for experimentation. We can see American food, classic food, is up almost 50%, but they want more than just comfort. They want healthy ingredients. It's up 67%. Organic, associated with being more natural, less pesticides, is something really, really valuable. Additionally, the general interest in immunity overall is up 266% among consumers. This is a clear motivation and a clear desire for them. And this is for obvious reasons. But the consumer cravings in wellness go beyond immunity, because consumers are also looking for stress relief. It's not just about physical health and building your immune system. It's also about the stress that goes with the current climate. So stress relief is actually the desire for food and beverages to provide stress relief is up 97% in these uncertain times. Now we can see that the ingredients associated with wellness are being used at home, as well as healthier versions of comfort foods. And I'll give you a bit of context, because at the very, very beginning of the shutdown, consumers were appearing to abandon formerly popular health motivations like diets and clean eating, and they went for what was familiar and available. And that was in the first kind of couple of weeks. But today we can see the healthy motivations are creeping back in with twists on American classics. Like you can see here, we've got grilled cheeseburger wraps up 700%. We can see zucchini pizza bites. That's amazing. These are classics, but lower carb versions. We're also seeing more healthy, nutritious version of classic desserts. So this cheesecake, which has had an enormous increase, and I'm sure we're all going to want to eat after this webinar, is a vegan chocolate banana cheesecake rather than the more fatty, loaded, creamy versions. They're looking for comfort, they're looking for classic, but they're also looking for a twist on it. And we can see that in the immunity ingredients, which are increasing. Things like echinacea for immunity, elderberry for stress relief. And what we can see, potentially make the connection there is that this is showing a white space that can be filled by adding these wellness ingredients to the traditional comfort foods, so that maybe next time that vegan cheesecake could actually include elderberry flavors. So I know now we're almost to the end. We've just got a couple more slides, but right now we're going to launch another poll, just to make sure you're still listening. No, to make sure that this is all really valuable for you. So we're going to launch a poll. If you'll just take 30 seconds and answer it, and then we will reveal the answers. So it's certainly good to see that this resonates with a lot of you when people are cooking more and they're being more adventurous. I'm hoping that some of you will get some inspiration from the recipes we're showing you. So we're almost at the end, but what we're gonna just cover next is the sentiments. And it's all very well having cold hard data and facts. We love being data driven. We think at Tastewise that everyone should have an element of data to back up their hunches and their expertise and their cooking needs. But we want to know what consumers are talking about. So this is all from Instagram posts and from the most popular Instagram posts around comfort and health, and it shows really common messaging and common consumer sentiments as to not just what they're eating and what the attributing motivations are towards those items and those recipes and those ingredients and those dishes, but why. It's not enough to just say, okay, customer motivations is for comforting healthy foods. Why is it? What are these recipes? So something that came up really, really often in looking at the qualitative data is that people are attributing certain dishes with hugs, with actually soups and dishes and stews and roasts as a version of a hug. Now, people aren't getting as many hugs, as much human interaction as they used to. So people are talking about how a food as a replacement for hugs, which I'm sure we're all doing to extent, and we can agree it's a lot more fulfilling than an elbow tap, which also you shouldn't do. That's not very social distancing. But while these replacement hugs and comfort are very necessary, we're also seeing that consumers are not willing to give up their physical health goals while being made to stay inside. And they want the best of both worlds. They want healthier versions of things like cakes and muffins, as worrying about gaining weight during lockdown is very much top of mind for many consumers. And I'm not shy to admit that I am certainly one of them. We also want to understand about the aspect of health and wellness. And when we talk about these dishes and ingredients associated with wellness, it's not only physical wellness they discuss. There's a lot of data about, this Thai curry, about it has so many amazing immunity boosting ingredients. It provides antibacterial and antiviral ingredients. And it's well known that these the lemongrass and the basil and the garlic is going to provide medicinal properties to the body. But it's not just about that. There's also a lot of allusions to mental fortitude, to deal with the stress and the anxiety. It's things like, people talking about being kept sane and the comfort and control and peace of mind that you get from baking and cooking and the act of that. And it's often not the actual ingredients. It's, you know, as much as, you know, these amazing looking scones would keep me sane and give me peace of mind, it's actually not the ingredients that give them that. It's the very act of cooking and baking itself which gives people a kind of peace of mind and keeps them sane, which we all need as much help with as we can at the moment. The kind of takeaways of this are, how can you appeal to this kind of target audience? So the takeaways are creating in demand, kid-friendly, immunity-boosting recipes. You can focus on comfort foods with a healthy twist to maximize your reach by meeting the desires of both children and their parents and all consumers. One can position oneself as a trusted source for accessible recipes. You can promote your product and inspire millions of consumers. And you can also use this kind of information to adapt marketing efforts and provide the consumers with the content that they are desperate for. And of course, you can learn more about all of this at tastewise.io. Thank you very much. And I think it's time for questions. So who's going to be the question master?
Let me pick one for you, for us actually. How long do you imagine these trends will preserve once the lockdowns are relaxed? The previous time constraints our parents had will return. You know, there's a couple of things going on in this, and I can start off. You know, we do expect people to settle into their routine. We are a creature of habits, and the most painful part about this whole work from home, stay at home element is that it's taken away from our habits. So we do want that familiarity, get back to the basic. But the prolonged nature of it and the intense nature of it is really exposing people to new experiences. And if cooking and indulging with the family members and trying new things is giving them that joy, we are always going to be hungry for joy. So that a part of me tells me that just from an analytical standpoint, there will be change, but a lot of it going to remain the same. Just the core element of why people do what they do. Deb, you want to add something to it?
I agree with you, Mitten. I think that obviously it's too early to it's too early to know at the current time exactly. But the truth is that there are themes which I believe will continue, and there are themes which may not. So it's very early on to find out. We still don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when this is going to end. But I don't think we will return to the way things were exactly before this. I think that some of these trends will continue.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add some notes from previous analysis working with this type of data. Even before the whole COVID-19 story, we've actually seen that people are becoming more verbal about health benefits in their food in general. So even before everything, the awareness have rose, and sometimes these types of crises are just expediting already trending concepts. So sometimes it's hard to go back once you establish and you kind of gain all this information about immune boosting, antioxidants, vitamins, you understand their impact. So you wouldn't be the same person going out of this lockdown than you were going into it. So that's one effect that might prolong this effect. And then the other thing is that we're talking about comfort food, okay? So we're talking about creating a win-win situation, right? When you're focusing on products that are both very massive, right, to a very extended population. Everyone likes comfort food, and you're giving them the healthier version of their comfort food. So it's not a niche type of area. It's something that's relevant for so many people. So if you manage to find those successful recipes, they're likely to stick around.
What is the sample on the study? I'm keeping it to 1,000 consistently across each weekend. And we'll only report when the numbers hit about 500 for any little subsegments. So that's a quick answer for you. Let's take another one quick. Oh yeah, this is, are some of you working from the office? The answer, everybody on this panel are actually, at least myself and Deb are actually not in office. We are in the discomfort of our homes. I was joking earlier, we have 2 Rottweilers in the house and they've been awfully calm right now. They do get a little kind of possessive if I don't give them attention. But yeah, from the home. Let's take one more here.
Just to make you aware,
Go ahead, please.
Marav is also working from home. She just has a very convincing background, so she is very much social distancing. I don't want anyone to think otherwise. But she didn't want everyone to see her sink for some reason.
Well, that explains it. I don't know what to say at that point, right? It's like, no, what is that? This one here, the rise in unemployment and some parents not being able to afford fresh or healthy ingredients. Has there also been an increase in frozen and ready-to-eat meals? Just from a pure data standpoint, the answer is yes. And in some cases, significant increase in those areas. It spiked pretty heavily in the first few weeks of COVID. It has settled in because you can only stock up so much. There's only so much freezer space you have, so on and so forth. But if you remember, when I was at Mintel, we were talking about the permanency of that behavior. My hypothesis is that there are certain exposure to new brands and new product formats will make people more comfortable in future to buy those things. But at this point, we are seeing there is a spike, and the spike is settled in some of the numbers that I showed you. Not primarily because they don't like it anymore. It's more there's only so much you can pantry load, right? So I would agree with that statement, Erica, and I value the empathy in your question regarding where people can afford freshness or not. There is also a visible element, and I think Deborah can actually expand more on what are we seeing in terms of using what's in the house, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Marav has recently actually collected some data on this. Do you wanna chime in?
Yeah, people are using, more canned food, more frozen food, leftovers. We're talking about even recycling benefits that we see as they trying to make work with what they have and the limited grocery availability these days. Actually, again, talking about expediting trends, we've seen that slow cooking and air fried, which is another healthier version of cooking, both of them have actually started trending even before COVID-19, but they kind of spiked up as people went into lockdown. So it's interesting to see how, we've seen first signals earlier on, but all of these early signals of trends that we're already establishing kind of got a real expedite as the virus kind of started.
Hey, we are at the top of our clear limit, 45. There are quite a few questions here. We'll get back to each one of them if we have not answered it on the session here. And again, we value your time and your engagement with us. Consistently, we are finding you all joining us and making value of our time in where we are right now. At this point, I will like to close from my side. Deborah, you want to close with a couple of words here?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Mitten and to Sensient for inviting Tastewise to be part of this amazing initiative. I hope you found value, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions to anyone in the audience.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.